Okay, yo, what's going on, buddy? It's your boy Advanced Warfare here. And the first thing you guys are probably gonna say, what the freak is this setup? Well, guys, I'm bringing you guys another creepypasta, but I got a new setup. I'm gonna show you guys the actual screen so you guys can actually see what the video is about. Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. This is 3 scary true clown experiences by Mr. Nightmare. So you guys can actually see the screen and what it shows. But the volume might be a little bit down, but it would just look better. Yeah. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys. You guys should probably hear that. There you go. Bye.
This happened when I was 12 years old, an age old enough to be aware of my surroundings and have a pretty good sense of danger, but also still around that age that attracts a certain selection of creeps. We live in a decently busy neighborhood. However, we're on a dead-end block near a forest preserve, and across the street from us is a sump, and if you were to go through the forest preserve, you would find yourself in a small community park. There was this one Saturday night that a mini carnival was being held in the park, and since I wasn't doing anything with friends, my mom suggested that I go check out the carnival. She isn't the kind of mom who tells her kids not to go out past dark. She always let me do my own thing. So I did end up going. I crossed through the forest with a flashlight and eventually passed the fence that led to the park and saw lit up carnival rides everywhere. A Ferris wheel, a mini roller coaster, some of those big spinning rides, and of course concession stands and carnival game booths. It was late enough where it wasn't very crowded. There was also a big circus tent with the red and white stripes where I saw some people entering. I poked my head inside, where I saw 4 rows of people in the audience, and on this mini stage were 3 clowns performing tricks. One was on a tricycle, one was juggling, and the other was just dancing around. Then the dancing one noticed me poking my head inside the tent, and he skipped over closer to me and started waving his index finger, signaling for me to come closer, or to come onto the stage. I didn't really know. All I knew is I didn't want to do either, and so I walked away. I ran into a friend at one of the carnival games, and I hung out with him for about half an hour. Pretty soon the carnival was closing down, and everybody was starting to leave. I said goodbye to my friends and made my way towards the woods again. I was near the fence when I heard, "Psst." It came from behind me. It was one of the clowns. The clown that was waving me over earlier. He asked me if I wanted to check out the backstage area of the circus tent and some of the cool things the guests cannot see. I said no very quickly and walked into the forest, looking back every few seconds to make sure I wasn't being followed. And I wasn't. The clown just stood there watching me, with the painted-on smile on his face making the situation even more disturbing. When I was out of view, I began to run for a bit before I was confident he wouldn't be able to find me. I was not going to tell my mom what happened because I loved being allowed out whenever I wanted, and I feared that this might ruin that. It's a half-mile walk through the woods. I was probably 3/4 of the way there when I heard it again. Psst. This time, I immediately felt sick when I heard it. I turned and saw the same clown walking out from the darkness of the woods into the light of my flashlight. When he was close enough, I threw the flashlight at him and ran for it in the direction of my house. I heard him close behind me until the road was visible. Then I heard him turn around. When I got home, I was breathing like I had just run a marathon, and my mom was of course concerned. I still didn't want to tell her what happened, so I lied and said I jogged the whole way back. After that, it never came up again. Up until the age of 14, I always had a fear of clowns, ever since I was first greeted with one at the age of 5 at a county fair. On a cold Tuesday night in November during break, my parents were on vacation and my sister and brother were out for the night. My friend, who I'll refer to as B, wanted to come over so that we could walk to the fair a couple blocks away. So he did. We walked to the fair, which happened to be in a big empty parking lot. We walked around for a little while and played some of the carnival games. Then we ran into a clown. He didn't speak, he just smiled, bopped around, and made silly hand motions. He resembled more of a mime than a clown, and he seemed to inch his way closer to us every few seconds. Me and B laughed, B patted him on the shoulder, and we walked away. "That was weird," I told B. "That was more creepy than weird," said B. We were walking back to my house now on the sidewalks of the quiet Tuesday night neighborhood roads, and that's when we heard something from behind us. It was a pair of footsteps. We turned, but didn't see anyone. This continued for another few minutes. B said he was freaked out and was gonna go home, but I convinced him to stay with me and hang out at my place, honestly because I was scared now. We were sure we were being followed. We made it to the front of my house. I dug through my pocket, took out my keychain, and started looking for the right key out of the three in the dark. That's when B nudged me to turn around. There was a clown hiding in the next door neighbor's bushes, and he was staring at us. When he noticed that we had spotted him, he emerged from the bushes and started walking over to us. I began to panic, trying each of the three keys until the door finally opened. We entered and slammed the door behind us. I called my parents right away, who told us to arm ourselves and hide upstairs. We went up to my little brother's room and looked out the window. There was the clown standing in our driveway, looking up at the window we were standing at, as if he were waiting for us. I shut the blinds and we both ducked down. Breathing heavily and panicking, within 10 minutes he was gone. I guess he gave up, or at least we think he was gone. For all we knew, he could have been hiding somewhere on the property all night. I'm just happy we made it home in time. If you've seen the news lately, there have been many reports of clowns luring children into the forest. I was one of the first to experience this, and it was utterly terrifying. I want to remain anonymous at the moment, just in case the clown finds out who I am. Anyways, here's what happened. I am 14 years old and live in a small town in South Carolina. The town has a population of around 130 people. Summer was just about over, and I had a summer job working at the local lumber yard. It was a great place to work. I helped customers load lumber into their vehicles, a pretty mindless job. Plus, I was able to stay physically fit because of it. The best part is that my house is exactly 1 mile away. Walking to and from work is a daily occurrence. I spent a long day hauling and moving lumber, and my workday was pretty much complete. It was about 9:30 p.m. when I started to walk home. The moon was just starting to light up the road, and the sun had completely set below the hills. There are no other houses between the lumberyard and my house. Our town is very rural. The road home has hills that peak high enough that you're unable to see what's on the other side until you crest it. The road is skinny with no shoulder, but it was freshly paved. The trees stack one by one behind each other in a row, and vegetation is thick with a few game trails coming out to the road. Crickets and frogs sound like an orchestra. The walk home usually takes about 30 minutes. I've done it so many times that I entertain myself with music. I put in my earbuds, throw on some tunes, and away I went. I was about halfway home when I heard what sounded like a high-pitched cackling laugh. What the hell was that? I said to myself out loud. I took out my earbuds and stopped. I thought maybe it was part of the music, but something about it didn't fit into the song. I stood there motionless, looking to hear the same sound again. However, the frogs croaking were so loud that not even a scream could be heard. I thought nothing of it and walked home. The next day, I started my shift at 2 p.m. I started my walk to work around 1:30. Nothing was out of the ordinary. It was a beautiful day. I usually look down at my feet and kick any rocks that I see. Having them skip across the fresh pavement was oddly satisfying. I kicked a rock and it skipped across the pavement and landed next to something strange laying in the dirt on the side of the road. It looked to be a bright red ball. I picked it up, I gave it a little pressure, and it squeaked. Immediately, I knew what it was. This is a clown nose, I said to myself. What the hell is this doing out here? I kept it and carried it to work to show the other staff members. I even put it on and gave it some honks. It got a few laughs. The day went on as usual, and around 9:30 p.m. I clocked out and began my long walk home. I forgot my earbuds at home, so I was unable to listen to my usual music. While on my way home, I was able to make out a faint image of a figure about 150 yards away of what looked like a deer standing in the middle of the road. It was hard to make out as the fog hovered over the ground and the moonlight backlit the animal. As I got within 100 yards, it must have gotten spooked. I could see a rough outline scamper back into the forest. Little did I know this was not a deer, but something more sadistic. I passed the spot in which the deer had taken off back into the woods. As I walked by, I heard footsteps about 20 yards behind me. I thought this was strange, as I have never seen a deer come back onto the road once it was scared off. Before I could look back, I heard, "Hey there." I turned my head to see a clown standing in the middle of the road with his hands behind his back. He wore baggy pants and a baggy shirt that was obviously meant to be a clown costume, but it was very dirty. So dirty that the colors faded into stains. His makeup ran down his face and his eyes were black. He tilted his head to the side and said, "You have something of mine. I need it back." He gave a small little laugh after he spoke. I don't have anything of yours," I said as I started to walk backwards. My house was still a quarter-mile away. This is when the situation went from odd to terrifying. He said, "Well then, if you don't have my nose, I'm gonna need yours." He pulled something out from behind his back, and I'm not gonna lie, it looked like a machete. I turn around, and with all my might, I take off running down the middle of the road. I could hear his bare feet running. I didn't look back as it could slow me down. The blades of what I assumed were two machetes dragged on the asphalt. I was in great shape, but I could still hear his footsteps getting louder, signaling he was getting closer to me. He would even let out a little giggle that would feed my adrenaline even more. My lungs started to burn. I began to crest the hill. At this moment, I could hear him almost right behind me, just about touching me. And then out of nowhere, a truck crests the hill with his headlights shining on me. I waved my arms in sheer panic. He stopped. I quickly looked behind me to see nothing. No clown. I told the man in the truck what happened, and he called the police. I will never make that walk again. I have no idea how the clown got to that location and why he waited for me. I have never seen any vehicles parked there, nor are there any other houses besides mine for miles. This was my worst nightmare come true. Now I have found out that this is happening to more people, clowns hiding in the woods and stalking people. Is this a cult, a group of scary clowns with a goal to terrify people? I have no idea, but I do know that I'll never be able to walk in the dark or see clowns the same way again.
Okay, yeah, guys. That was creepypasta. That was the 3 scary true clown experience scary stories. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this new setup, leave a like, comment down below. I'll see you on in the next video. Goodbye. Peace.